All right, so for now, one now to go to our top story this morning. Like I mentioned, it's one very interesting one, and we're talking about the struggle of weight loss for quite a number of Kenyans here in the country, and even just globally. It's not really something that is specific to Kenya, but the whole wide world. And we'll also be taking a look at the statistics of obesity across different continents. But before that happens, we just want to take a look at a story that was packaged by my colleagues, and of course, this is really talking about that isn't really new, but MP going a step further into this weight loss issue, and of course having the bariatric surgery, another way to fix or to correct obesity. We'll be having a discussion also here with my guest in studio. He is an expert. If you want to know more about that, you can also tweet me at Betty M. Kialo. Use the hashtag KTN News Centre. Let me hear your thoughts on this one. But for now, let's just take a look at this package and then we come back to the studio.
In 2012, Kirusha was obese, weighing 140 kgs before undergoing a weight loss procedure, medically known as bariatric surgery in India, where the size of his stomach was significantly reduced. 6 years later, he weighs 80 kgs with less lifestyle diseases.
I am no more on any diabetic medicine. I am no more on hypertension medicine, cholesterol, no medicines at all. And I can walk 15-20 kilometers, not a minor operation, but the aftercare and your willingness will win you all the way through.
The rise of obesity leading to lifestyle diseases such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension, bone and joints diseases has compelled the MP Shah Hospital to come up with a surgical procedure launched today to help overweight and obese persons lose weight surgically. The launch was officiated by Baringo Senator Gideon Moi.
Now, bariatric surgery is not something new. It has been there for centuries. But unfortunately, it never gained popularity that it deserved. Reason being, for operating an obese person with a big incision is in itself a challenge.
That by 2033, non-communicable diseases will overtake communicable diseases as the #1 killer of Kenyans. While this may feel or seem far-fetched and far off, the country's healthcare system must be prepared to tackle these emerging health issues.
The procedure, which is not new in the country, involves removal of excess fat around vital organs such as the liver, reducing the size of the stomach to accommodate less food and decrease the number of sensory glands, which sends hunger signals to the brain. The procedure employs a modern non-invasive surgical technique called laparoscopic surgery, where a tiny camera is inserted into the body which beams abdominal pictures to a screen, enabling the surgeon conduct the surgery with minimal incisions.
Now I can do the surgery with those small hole. At least I don't have to remind myself that I have forgotten the swab inside or the instrument inside.
We expect nearly 50% of population, global population, to be obese by the end of 2020. So this aspect is very alarming.
The hospital did its maiden bariatric surgery on Friday, and by Sunday it had completed 6 procedures, which on average cost between 800,000 shillings to 1 million shillings. A survey by the Ministry of Health shows that overweight and obesity prevalence among adults aged between 15 to 69 years is high, especially among women. Nairobi, Kiambu and Mombasa have the highest number of obese women. Caroline B., KTN News.
All right, so the expert in studio is telling me that indeed that all that you're seeing is fat. All right, so we'll just take a look at the statistics and then we come back to our discussion, and we'll do that with the help of some graphics. Let's just take a look at the obesity statistics, and this time round across different age groups. So of course you have adults there accounting for 640 million. This is about 12.8%. Of the world's population, 640 million people obese. And then, of course, you have children there. So it also affects a number of them. 40 million is quite a huge number. That accounts for about 8%. Moving on to the statistics with regard to the continents, and North America and Europe account for 27.7. So that really is the highest number of obese people in America, in North America and Europe. And then you have Asia, you have 7.4%. And then there we go, Africa, 11.1% of the population is obese. And also the doctor is going to be talking to us really about just what does it mean to be obese. Is it with regard to BMI? Is it with regard to your weight? Then we have the last graphics. Let's just have them. All right, so there we have it. So those are the graphics. We'll show you the other ones in a few moments. Let me introduce Dr. Dennis Nyambane, who's from the Department of Surgery, Mpisha Hospital. You're a surgeon.
Thank you very much, gracious host, for having me today.
Karibu sana. So, of course, this is something that many people, I'm sure, and they're watching from home, they want to know more about, because weight loss is maybe one of the most popular struggles when it comes to anything to do with, weight and, your personal outlook. So, first of all, what is bariatric surgery?
Thank you very much. So, bariatric surgery, the name is derived from two words. There's baros and then there's tres. These are Latin words. Baros means overweight, tres is physician.
Okay.
So fundamentally speaking, it is a surgical procedure targeted at obese people for weight reduction surgery. Yeah.
Interesting. And so let's just even start from the basics. So how do you describe somebody who's obese? I know there's the BMI, but what qualifies you to go for such a surgery? Can I go for that surgery if I wanted to? Maybe I want to.
Well, bariatric surgery is specifically offered to people with the body mass index, that's BMI, above 35.
Right.
So if sometimes there are concerns that maybe you have excess weight in certain areas, there are also surgical procedures for that, where we have liposuction, we have some form of laser treatment for specific reduction of weight in certain areas. But for people with the body mass index of above 35, that means that the ratio between the height and their total body weight is not the correct one. So you can be really tall and have a certain weight, then we calculate your BMI, then you don't actually qualify. So actually it's the ratio between your height and your body weight.
And your body weight.
This is also opposed to those guys who bodybuilders, because the muscle weight is high. So again, it's not ideal. It's not like set in stone that your BMI is high, but up to a certain point, and depending on your characteristics, then we feel like you are a candidate for bariatric surgery.
And can it be performed on everybody? I mean, just look at the numbers. There are 40 million, children across the world, are obese.
Yeah.
Is it limited to a certain age group, or anybody can go through the surgery?
It is not limited to any particular person, only as long as you're fit for surgery. Last year, the media highlighted this growing epidemic of obesity, especially in our teens.
Yeah.
So again, that's a good place to start, because it affects their body image negatively.
Right.
They get bullied, self-esteem is low. Then as they become adults, the rates of depression, negative body image, and suicide rates are very high. And this can be directly attributed to the obesity.
To obesity.
Then another thing to consider, obesity has been shown to be there is a causal relationship between obesity and diabetes and hypertension.
Right.
Even going as far as being one of the risk factors for developing various types of cancers. So obesity in itself is a risk for other lifestyle diseases. Also arthritis.
Yes.
So it is something that can be treated, should be treated,
right,
because of the risks are there other than the psychological risks. there are health risks.
Health risks.
That are life-threatening.
Interesting. But, somebody would just say, okay, why can somebody then just, instead of going through surgery, first of all, 800 to about 1 million shillings for the surgery?
Yeah.
Or even it could go higher. Why not just eat right, exercise, and lose weight in the most natural way? Why opt for surgery?
Well, that's a very good question. But the problem comes with those are modifiable risk factors for obesity. You talked about diet.
Yeah.
You talked about regular exercise, eating healthy. Those are things that you can do, but there are also other non-modifiable risk factors that you can have no control over.
Right.
There is known genetic predisposition to obesity in certain families. There are certain medical conditions that lead you to become obese. Those you have little or no control over.
Okay.
And then the problem with the modifiable risk factors, there's interaction within the body and the environment. So you can eat right, that's okay.
Yes.
Exercise regularly, but your body makeup is such that it's too efficient in terms of digestion and absorption and storage of, so less efficient in utilization of the body stores.
All right.
So you end up accumulating against what you would expect to. So some people would eat same as you, but not gain as much weight.
Yes.
So that becomes a challenge for many people.
All right.
And then these modifiable risk factors are not permanent. You can lose a lot of weight by doing all this, only to regain it later. So what we advise patients is first, there is that effort, at least 3 months, of targeted weight reduction via diet, via exercise.
Right. So that's before the surgery?
Before the surgery,
you actually, eat right, you do a bit of exercise. Okay.
So having in mind that if you're willing to commit to lose your weight, then after the surgery, because the surgery itself, it's a lasting solution to weight loss. However, studies have shown that at 10 years, there is a good number of some of these bariatric patients who have regained a lot of this weight. Because again, whether we reduce the size of the stomach is an expansile bag.
Yes.
So it's likely to increase in capacity. Even not to original, but the capacity will increase.
Can increase.
Yeah.
So then if you've had patients who have gone through the surgery but still, they gain the weight back, then is it really a permanent solution?
Yeah, there are various types of bariatric procedures that have been developed. So currently we offer patients 2 choices depending on your BMI. If you're between 35 and 40 BMI, then the best is a restrictive procedure. That's reducing the capacity of the stomach from around 1.5 to 2 liters, normal capacity, to 60 to 150 mils. That's almost 85% reduction of stomach capacity.
Right.
So this leads to a drastic reduction in hunger. You get full fast, and even the hunger drive, because the part of the stomach that we take out, the stomach is like a sea bag. So we take out the outer section of the sea, and this part also has some hormones that drive hunger.
Okay.
So it is not only are we reducing the size, we're also reducing the drive towards eating.
All right. So you don't feel feel hungry less?
You can even go up to full day without feeling any hunger.
And you can operate perfectly?
Finally, because you have a lot of reserve. Again, you see the population we have targeted. Then you get fuller faster, because 150 milliliters is hardly anything.
So if you're eating like 4 chapatis, now you only eat 1.
Yeah, you do that. And if you eat more, it becomes painful.
Or it becomes painful to you if you
Because the stress on the stomach also, because the capacity is limited. So in that way, you get that you lose weight by cutting on the intake. Because intake and expenditure are two sides of the same coin that leads to that kind of a thing, yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned that this bariatric surgery, there are 3 types. So maybe you could take us through the 3 and, how they're done.
So the first, generally speaking, there's restrictive or malabsorptive procedures. So restrictive is basically reducing the size of your stomach. So from 1.5 liters to 150 mils. Yeah. So that is the most often offered to patients, and results are very good. Complications are negligible, and they can be compared to any other kind of laparoscopic surgery.
All right.
Then the other procedures, the malabsorptive procedures, they cause more permanent and more drastic loss in weight, where first you can bypass the stomach. So that is called gastric bypass. So whatever you eat is not digested, goes into the small intestine, and because stomach function in digestion is very important, it makes the food liquid, it breaks down the proteins and everything. So by bypassing the stomach, you're causing a form of malabsorption, and malabsorption leads to weight loss. However, the complications are a little more. Yeah.
So for the gastric bypass, so you eat, in the most simplest language, so you eat and then the food is not digested in the stomach?
Not digested fully.
Fully?
Yeah.
So it goes then to the small intestines and then out?
A form of artificial malabsorption.
Okay. Yeah. So you feel full, but not everything has been digested. Yeah. All right. So all these procedures, what are the complications? Like you mentioned, sometimes you could do the surgery and then after some time you have like the weight coming back, but like weight gain again. But what are the other, procedural challenges that can be faced?
Well, challenges relating to the procedure, the percentage is very low. It's like 0.04% for where we have cut getting a small leak, because again the devices we staple along that to seal it off. These devices sometimes can have small malfunctions. Though great care has been taken in manufacture of these devices. So complications related to the procedure itself are less. However, subsequently you might develop reflux disease if the procedure was not done optimally. You might develop gallstones in 2 years. If your gallbladder was also not removed during the procedure, your incidence of getting gallstones will be higher. Yeah. Then you are at risk of gaining this weight in several years, of course, but also if you do not follow the proper advice that you've been given. So before you're subjected to this procedure, then it becomes imperative on us as medical personnel to counsel you first that this procedure, here are the benefits, here are the risks, do you accept them, and you know what you are going into, what might happen after and later. So you have realistic expectations for this procedure. Right.
Previously, we've seen, cases, even very recently, of this, of surgeries, gone wrong. You have somebody who wants to, do something to their body. It could be a tummy tuck, it could be something, and things don't go as planned. With this kind of procedure, have you ever had, such cases, especially the ones that have been done here in Kenya? Is there a moment whereby something went wrong and there was a loss of life? Because many Kenyans really fear, I think it's everybody who fears this going under the knife.
Yeah. So let us clarify that tummy tuck is not bariatric surgery. Tummy tuck is cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery.
Right.
Well, so bariatric surgery differs from tummy tuck in that it is not a temporary solution to body morphology, body conformation. What liposuction, tummy tuck, they aim to contour the body.
Yes.
Bariatric aims to lose the body fat reserves.
Okay.
Again, you see, after bariatric surgery, you will have excess skin because that fat has gone away.
Yeah.
Then you require a cosmetic procedure to remove that excess skin, which is not the case with that liposuction.
Yes,
even though sometimes we might need that.
Okay.
So, yeah. Could you please?
Yes, yes. All right. So finally, also, as we wind up, so talk to us about the procedure. So you go to hospital, you've had maybe your 3 months to lose weight, with the eating right and, exercising, and then now it's time for the procedure. So what normally happens until the time you leave hospital? And how long does that surgery take? And recovery too?
Yeah. So the good thing about the bariatric surgery, it has advanced to a level of minimal access surgery. So instead of cutting you open, we make small buttonholes, and then we introduce long instruments that we use to dissect out the portion of the stomach that we are going to remove. And through those same incisions, we will deliver out this part of the stomach that we've removed.
Through the buttonholes, you call them buttonholes. You'll be able to still remove. Okay.
So, because of the minimal access, post-operatively, the pain is much less compared to an open surgery. The scarring is minimal. In 6 months, the scars are barely visible because they are very small. And then the recovery is much faster. Many centers release patients after a day. So between after a day of the procedure, you can go home. But between a day and 4 days, it's not a bad time to be in hospital. And it's not a minor surgery,
Right.
So, but recovery is much faster. So what we do with these small buttonholes, we mobilize the stomach. It's a bag, actually. It's like a purse. Then we put a sizing device through the mouth into the stomach. Then along that sizing device, we call it a bougie, we staple out the stomach. Then we cut out this excess. So the bougie sizes the stomach so that we have a residual capacity of like 60 to 150 cc from 1.5 liters. Then we pull out the redundant part of the stomach through the buttonholes. And then within a few weeks, because you are eating less, you're getting fuller faster. So your body has to compensate. So it will break down your fat.
All right.
So within a few weeks, you've lost up to 40% of your weight.
40%?
You can lose up to 40%, yeah. Then gradually, so it's like a sharp uphill curve, and then it tapers out. Then the weight loss becomes more constant, and then you can no longer lose any more weight. You
can't lose any more weight.
There's a limit, obviously, because if you continue losing weight, then you become underweight, and which is not good.
Yeah.
So it tapers out. Yeah.
So after you do this surgery and you're completely healed, are you advised to go to the gym to still carry out the exercises and eat right, or after this surgery now you can eat anything you want at whatever time and not even have to go to the gym? That's where counseling comes in before the surgery. Counseling? Because you're at risk of regaining your weight if you don't follow the proper advice. What if I just eat like a small portion of, French fries or, 2 chapatis? Not too much, but whatever I'm eating maybe is not the most healthy choice. Well, the body is funny.
it will extract as much as it can from whatever you give it. So you're taking a high carb diet, like French fries, fatty foods and everything. The digestive system is very efficient. So you do that on a regular basis, body digests all that, and any excess absorbed food is stored. So you might be eating little, but frequently, and the body is able to store that, then you'll notice that your weight is coming back. Yeah?
Then you realize the weight is coming back.
The weight will come back if you do not eat healthy.
Yes, yes.
If you do not watch your carbs and everything. Yeah.
All right. So I want to just take a look at maybe one or two tweets here. I'm seeing quite a number of people. Beryl Sylvia, now she has a different view, question. She's asking, I want to add weight, share some tips on the same. So is there any way to add weight like through a procedure? Because not everybody suffers from obesity. Others are actually, underweight or smaller than they would want to be. Do you pump in fat in somebody's if they want to add some weight?
Injection of fat, we can only inject your own fat. So again, that will not change your weight in any way.
Okay.
We can do fat transfers, flap transfers, but only from tissue of the same person. We have not advanced enough to have weight gain procedures that we can safely market. But so currently, that is not an option that is there. If you want to gain weight, then that's a little different. You only need to have intake that is greater than your output, than your energy expenditure. However, some people's metabolism is more faster. They might be having other medical problems. So it will be good to discuss with our medical personnel maybe why you're not gaining weight.
All right. Somebody here also just asking, so this, apart from the stomach, let's say you have maybe big hands or, the legs are, you wanted to cut down. Can that surgery be done specifically for different parts of your body?
So the surgery for contouring different parts of your body.
So that's contouring?
Yeah, body contouring, that becomes a liposuction. So that's different from bariatric that aims at general body loss. General body weight loss. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Dr. Dennis Nyambane is a surgeon in the Department of Surgery, MP Shah Hospital. They, of course, they've launched their bariatric surgery that aims to help people lose weight by going under the knife. He's explained, of course, everything that happens. And so if you're struggling with that weight, but you have to be over 35 when it comes to your BMI. All right, so thank you very much for watching. We'll take a short commercial break right now. But coming back in a few minutes for a second hour. Remember, also we'll be having What's Trending with my colleague Tandiwe Yego. So don't go away, we'll be right back.